Hi students, we are discussing work power energy collisions. Okay, so I started collisions. So in the last class we learned these collisions are two types: elastic collisions and inelastic collisions. Okay, we are seeing one dimensional perfectly elastic collisions. Okay, so we discussed one dimensional perfectly elastic collisions we are discussing. Okay, so in one dimensional, what we are discussing, one dimensional elastic collision. One dimensional elastic collision we are discussing. So we are consider two bodies of masses m1 moving with velocity u1 and m2 moving with velocity u2. They collide with each other. So this is during the collision, they exert impulse forces on one another. Okay, so this is during collision. After collision, they move with velocities v1 and v2. Okay, so v1 v2 are the velocities of the colliding bodies after collision. Okay, so we discussed this one. Now if second body is at rest, so if second body is at rest before collision, that is second body is at rest before collision, okay, that is u2 will be 0. So what happens? That is u2 is 0. Then what is v1 and v2? Then what is the velocities of the colliding bodies after collision? So v1 is equal to, we have m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 of u1. u2 term becomes 0. So and v2 is equal to 2m1 by m1 plus m2 of u1. So we arrived these equations in the last class. Okay, so I put in v1 v2 expressions, I put v2 is equal to 0. So I assumed that second body is at rest before collision. Now these are the velocities acquired by the bodies after collision. Okay, so what is the momentum of this one before collision? 0, because which is at rest. What is its kinetic energy? 0. After collision, it acquires some momentum, isn't it? It acquires some momentum. How much? m2 v2. Where it will acquire? From first one. So during these collisions, what happens? They exchange their momentas. Okay, total momentum will remains constant, no doubt, but they will exchange the momentums. They changes the momentums. So momentum of the individual bodies changes, may increase or decrease. So I want what is its kinetic energies. So momentum of the first body, P1 is equal to m1 u1. Okay, before collision. So after collision, momentum is P2. So P1 dash after collision. So after collision it will be M1 V1. Okay. Similarly, what is the momentum of this second one before collision? M2 U2. That is 0 because which is at rest. After collision P2 dash, what is it? M2 V2. Isn't it? So after collision they acquire some momentum. So some momentum will be transferred from first one to second one. How much momentum will transferred? So momentum transferred. Momentum acquired by the body after collision. So momentum transferred is, so it is initially M2 V2 will be transferred. Momentum transferred to second one, second body. How much? The answer will be M2 V2. This much of momentum will be transferred by the to the second body. Similarly, kinetic energy also will transferred. Okay. So similarly kinetic energy is also transferred. So what is initial kinetic energy? Initial kinetic energy K1. Initial kinetic energy of first one, kinetic energies. I will write kinetic energies. Kinetic energy. Okay. So this kinetic energy K1, first one. First one is half M1 U1 square. Second one after collision K1 dash. After collision half M1 V1 square. Initial kinetic energy. So kinetic energy of second one before collision half M2 U2 square. What is kinetic energy of second one after collision? Half M2 V2 square. Okay. What is this total kinetic energy? Here this will become 0, isn't it? Because initially U2 I assumed it as 0. I substituted. Then I got kinetic energy 0. What is total initial kinetic energy? Total initial kinetic energy. Initial kinetic energy. Total initial kinetic energy. How much? Half. So K1 that is equal to K1. That is half M1 U1 square. That is initial kinetic energy. How much kinetic energy is transferred? Kinetic energy I represented with letter K. Okay. So kinetic energy transferred to second one. How much? To second one. How much? Half M2 V2 square. That is, I will write here. That is kinetic energy transferred to second one is, that is equal to half M2. What is V2? V2 is this much. So for it is V2 square. So that I will write 2M1 by M1 plus M2, M1 plus M2, M1 plus M2 of U1 square. So I will square this one because it is V2 square. I substituted V2 value here in this one. So I got 2 square 4, 4 by 2 2. So what I will get, that is 4, 4 not 4, 2 square 4, 4 by 2 2. I will write here 2 m1 square, there is no space here, I will write here, okay. So kinetic energy transferred, how much to second body, how much, that is, I will write here, that is a half 2 square 4 means 2 m1 m2, I will write m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 whole square. Here 1 m is there, so I will write half, I will write a half as it is, 2 square 4, I will write like this, half m1 u1 square. I will write this expression, kinetic energy transferred to second body, I will write this expression like this, isn't it? So this is the kinetic energy transferred to the second one. So I want a fraction of kinetic energy transferred, fraction of K transferred, I want. Fraction means you have to divide with the initial value. So initial is, fraction means the fraction of kinetic energy transferred, you divide with this one with the K, with the initial value. Total initial kinetic energy K1, that is half m1 u1 square. You divide this, you will get, this one will get cancelled. So you will get 4 m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 whole square. So this much of kinetic energy will transfer to the second body, okay. Fraction of kinetic energy transferred will be kinetic energy transferred to the second body divided by total. You divide with the total, you will get fraction. If you want percentage transferred, you multiply with the 100. Percentage transferred, if you want, multiply with the 100, okay. How much kinetic energy retained? Kinetic energy retained by the first body, how much? That is, so I want kinetic energy retained by the first body during this collision, okay. I want this kinetic energy retained by the first body, because during collision some kinetic energy is transferred from first body to second body. Only some energy will be transferred, remaining energy it will retain. First body will retain certain energy. So what fraction of kinetic energy will retain? I want. Kinetic energy retained by the first body is how much? It is half m1 v1 square, isn't it? So that is half m1. What is v1? m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 whole square into u1 square, okay. I substituted, instead of v, I will write m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 whole square into u1 square. Instead of v1 I substituted this, then I square it, okay. This can also be written as half m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 whole square into half m1 u1 square, that is initial energy. So if you want a fraction, the kinetic energy retained by the first body divide with the initial total energy, that is half m1 u1 square, then you will get this value. So fraction of kinetic energy, I will write here, fraction of kinetic energy retained by the first body, how much? That is fraction, you divide this value, kinetic energy retained by the first one, divide with the total. Total is half mv square, you will get this one. So that is m1 minus m2, m1 plus m2 whole square. Okay, so this is the answer. If you want percentage retained by, multiply with 100. Fraction is multiply with 100. You will get 100. You will get percentage. Okay. Percentage of transferred is also you multiply with 100. Then you will get percentage of transferred kinetic energy transferred to the second one. This is the transferred, this is retained. Okay. Okay. Let us take this example. Okay, you take this. So we are discussing this first one, elastic collision. The next one is perfectly inelastic collision. The second type of collision is perfectly inelastic collision. So this perfectly inelastic collision, what is this perfectly inelastic collision? After colliding, the bodies stick together and move with a common velocity. Such a type of collision is called perfectly inelastic collision. So in perfectly inelastic collision, here the kinetic energy is not conserved. Okay? In perfectly inelastic collision, only momentum conserved. So what is that? Only linear momentum conserved. Linear momentum conserved. Kinetic energy not conserved. Such a type of collision we can call it as perfectly inelastic collision. In this collision, this after collision the bodies stick together. After collision, colliding bodies stick together and moves with a common velocity. Such a type of collision is called common velocity, VC. Moves with a common velocity. That means they stick together. After collision, their velocities are V1 is equal to V2 is equal to Vc. Okay. So you apply momentum principle. Apply LCLM. What is LCLM? Law of conservation of linear momentum. So what is that? total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision. So before collision, momentum of the first one is m1 u1, second one is m2 u2, total will be m1 u1 plus m2 v2. Second one, after collision, m1 moves v1 with vc velocity, and second one also moves with velocity vc. So they stick together and moves with a common velocity. So total mass, I will write, stick together means total mass becomes m1 plus m2 into vc. Okay. So what is this common velocity? Vc is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 by m1 plus m2. Okay, this is common velocity. Suppose the bodies are moving in opposite directions before collision. Suppose bodies moves in opposite direction before collision, then Vc is equal to, we have to write total momentum m1 u1 minus m2 v2. You have to put minus by m1 plus m2. So if they are moving in the same direction, what is total momentum? m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Before collision, they move in opposite directions like this, m2 u2. So before collision, they are moving in opposite directions. So they stick together after collision. Then they move with a common velocity is given by m1 u1 minus m2 u2 by m1 plus m2. Because momentum is also a vector quantity, you have to subtract. After collision, the bodies stick together and they move in which direction? In the direction of greater momentum. After collision, the bodies moves in which direction? In the direction of greater momentum. Suppose first body has greater momentum, it will move forward direction. Suppose second body has greater momentum before collision, it will move back after collision. That is the meaning. Okay. So this is perfectly inelastic collision. Such a type of, here kinetic energy will be lost. So how much kinetic energy will be not conserved? That means kinetic energies are not equal. So kinetic energy is not conserved. That means there will be some loss of kinetic energy. Okay. So the next point, there will be loss of kinetic energy. I want that loss of kinetic energy. I want kinetic energy. Okay. I want this loss of kinetic energy. This loss of kinetic energy can be calculated. Final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. You will get negative. You will get negative value. That initial kinetic energy. Okay, you will get a negative value. That negative value indicates loss. Okay. So what is the final kinetic energy? So let us assume two bodies. First one, I will assume m1 moving with velocity u1. Second one, I take it will be at rest before collision, m2. After collision, they stick together and move with velocity vc. So what is vc? half common velocity. Common velocity is m1 u1 plus m2 u2. m2 u2 becomes 0 by m1 plus m2. Okay. So this is common velocity. So what is initial kinetic energy? Initial will be initial k. How much? This will becomes 0. This will becomes half m1 u1 square. Isn't it? This is initial kinetic energy. What is final kinetic energy? Final k. What is final k? Half m1 plus m2 into Vc square. Okay. That is final kinetic energy. I want loss in kinetic energy. That is half final kinetic energy is half m1 plus m2 into Vc square minus initial half m1 u1 square. That is half m1 plus m2. What is Vc? Vc square. That is m1 u1 by m1 plus m2. Okay. U square Vc square minus half m1 u1 square. Half m1 u1 square, you take it as common. So what you will get? Half m1 m1 u1 square, half m1 u1 square. What you will get here? Here square you will get m1 plus m2, one get cancelled, you will get m1 plus m2, one term will get cancelled, one term is left, and here m1 is left because m1 square u1 square I take it as common minus 1. Okay. So what I get? You take LCM. So half m1 u1 square. What you will get? m1 plus m2. m1 you take LCM. LCM is m1 plus m2. Here is m1 minus m1 minus m2. Okay. This plus 1 minus 1 get cancelled. So what you will get? Half m1 m2 minus u1 square by m1 plus m2. Okay. This is the answer. So minus indicates loss. Okay. Clear? This will be loss of energy. Suppose u2 is not equal to 0. Okay. Perfectly inelastic collision. If u2 not equal to 0, then loss in kinetic energy, loss in K is equal to how much? Half, I will write directly, half m1 m2 by m1 plus m2, half m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 of u1 minus u2 whole square. Okay. This much is the loss of energy. Okay. When we are using this formula, if u2 not equal to 0. Clear? If the loss in kinetic energy, the general formula is half m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 of u1 minus u2 whole square into 1 minus e square. This is the general formula. Here E decides. Here E is called coefficient of restitution. Coefficient of restitution. What is coefficient of restitution? I will tell now. Okay? Coefficient of restitution. It is represented with the letter small e. So depending upon this E value decides the nature of the collisions, whether it is elastic or perfectly inelastic. Clear? So now I will explain this coefficient of restitution. Okay? So during collisions, what happens? Now the next one is coefficient of restitution. Coefficient of restitution. It is E. So during collisions, what happens? See, during collisions, this is the first one, u1, m1, second one, m2, u2. So during collisions, what happens? The first one exerts certain force on another one, second one exerts in turn force on another one. Okay? So this is the impulsive forces acts on one another. That is, force exerted by first one on second one is equal to force exerted by second one on first one. Both are equal and opposite according to Newton's third law. Okay. After collision, what happens? The momentas will be exchanged and the first one moves with velocity v1, second one moves with velocity v2. This is our assumptions. Okay. Now, what is this coefficient of restitution? During collisions, what happens? The bodies undergoes deformation because of this impulsive forces. Deformation. What is the deformation? It changes the shape of the body. And again, due to elastic property, it again regains its original shape. It restituted. It again comes to the original shape. So this impulse exerted on one another during the period of restitution is different by impulse exerted during the deformation period. They may not be equal always. That ratio we can call it as coefficient of restitution. So the coefficient of restitution we can define as E is equal to the impulse forces, during restitution period to impulse during deformation period. That ratio, these two may not be equal. So that's why we generally take these impulsive forces are average forces exerted by these forces. These are the not instantaneous forces. We will take average forces. Average force exerted by first body on second body. That average force we will get by using impulse, that is change in momentum. We will get average force, not instantaneous forces exerted on one another. Okay. So this impulse during restitution period to impulse during deformation period is called coefficient of restitution. We can prove that. It is also called it as we can prove that or we can define in another way, or we define E is the ratio of coefficient of relative velocities of separation, relative velocities of separation after collision, relative velocities of separation after collision, to relative velocities of approach before collision. Okay, actually they approach before collision, they separated after collision. So the relative velocities ratio is also called it as coefficient of restitution. This impulse during restitution period, we can prove this one. Okay, both are same. So E is equal to relative velocities of separation after collision is V2 minus V1, and the relative velocities of approach before collision is U1 minus U2. So this is the formula for to determine the coefficient of restitution. Okay, what is V1 V2? Velocities before collision. What is U1 U2? Velocities before collision. Now here E depends on nature of the colliding bodies. Small e depends on nature of the colliding bodies. Okay, independent of velocities. It won't depends upon U1, U2, V1, V2. It depends upon nature of the colliding bodies. Okay, I will explain with the example. Okay, generally E has no units and dimensions because the velocity units get cancelled. E has no units. E have no units and dimensions. It has no units and dimensions. It is a number only. So this E value lies between 0 less than 1. Okay, so it lies equal to, this E value lies between 0 and 1. 0 less than or equal to E, less than or equal to 1. That means E lies between 0 and 1. It is only a number. By seeing that number, we can decide the nature of the collision. Okay, if E value is 1, we can say that it is perfectly elastic collision. That we already proved that relative velocities of separation after collision is equal to relative velocities of approach before collision. That we proved already in one-dimensional elastic collisions. So there E value becomes 1. If you substitute E1, you will get V2 minus V1 is equal to U1 minus U2. So here this can also be written as V2 minus E1 is equal to E into U1 minus U2. Okay, this is called Newton's experimental formula. This we can also call it as Newton's experimental formula. V2 minus V1 is equal to E into U1 minus U2. Okay. Now, based on this, we will decide these collisions. Okay. So now we will decide the collisions. Okay. These collisions I said two types. What are they? Elastic collisions, inelastic collisions. Okay. So types of collisions. So types of collisions. Types of collisions, that is elastic collisions, first one, second one, perfectly inelastic collisions, third one is inelastic collision. So these are three types. So I already explained this perfectly elastic collision. So based on this coefficient of restitution, here what is perfectly elastic collision? Momentum is conserved. Momentum and kinetic energy. Kinetic energy. Both conserved. Both conserved. Here only momentum conserved. Momentum is conserved but not kinetic. Okay? Kinetic energy is not conserved. So in all types of collisions, only momentum is conserved. Only momentum is conserved. Is conserved. Okay? So here coefficient of restitution value, coefficient of restitution value, restitution E value is 1 for perfectly elastic collision, elastic collisions. Here coefficient of restitution E is equal to 0. Here E value lies between 0 and 1. Okay. So by seeing this E value, we can decide the type of collisions. Okay. If it is 0, we can assume that perfectly inelastic in given problems. If E is equal to 1, we can assume perfectly elastic collision. If E value is given, that value lies between 0 and 1, then it will become perfectly inelastic collision. Okay. So that is the advantage of this E. We can decide the type of collisions. Now here loss in kinetic energy 0. Loss in kinetic energy 0. Here there will be loss in both kinetic energies. There will be loss in kinetic energy. Here is also maximum loss. Here there will be loss. There will be loss. Okay. There will be loss in kinetic energy. It reappears. This loss in energy reappears in the form of heat, sound, light, etc. So you might have seen this practically. During collisions, large sound will be produced, isn't it? Sometimes due to friction, heat energy is also produced. They will burn. The bodies, colliding bodies will burn during collisions because of friction. Because there is some loss in kinetic energy before collision, by virtue of its motion they possess kinetic energy. During collisions, what happens? There will be some loss in energy, kinetic energy. That loss energy from law of conservation of energy, it will reappears in the form of heat, sound, light, etc. Okay. Now, this bodies undergoes no deformation takes place. No deformation. So, no deformation. That means bodies does not undergo any deformation. So, undergoes deformation, undergoes deformation, undergoes deformation. Here is also. Okay. Generally, the examples for this deformation means shape of the body will changes during these collisions. Okay. Here no deformation takes place. Examples is, the examples for elastic collision, practical examples is collision between billiard balls, collision between atoms, molecules in chemistry, kinetic theory of gases, atoms will collide with each other, molecules will collide with each other, alpha particle collides with the nucleus, like that. All such examples we can consider as this elastic collisions. Atoms, collision between atoms, molecules, billiard balls. So, billiard balls. I think you will play with this billiard balls. There will be a long sticks, there will be a red, blue, green balls. One ball, red ball will hit the another ball, and that ball will fall in a hole. Okay. So, during that a stick will hit with a ball, spear, ivory spears. So, in such the collision between ivory spears with billiard balls, we can also consider as elastic collisions. Strictly speaking, there is no perfectly elastic collision, strictly speaking. Okay. But these collisions between atoms and molecules we can consider as perfectly elastic collision. Okay. Here a bullet hits the target. This is one example. Okay. Bullet hits the target is the example. So, as this bullet hits the target, a bullet embedded in the target and both move together. Such a collisions or the bullet will emerges through the target. Such collisions we can consider as perfectly inelastic collisions. Okay, general collisions which might be takes place in nature is inelastic collisions. These are the general collisions. General collisions takes place in nature, takes place in nature is called inelastic collisions. Perfectly speaking, there is no perfectly inelastic collision, perfectly elastic collision. All collisions which takes place in the nature that we are observing daily in our life, colliding two vehicles, colliding two balls. Okay. So, such collisions we can call it as inelastic collisions. These are the general collisions takes place in the nature, but these are the some assumptions. We will take this perfectly inelastic collision and perfectly elastic collisions. Clear? These are the three types of collisions. Clear? Okay. Now, the next one is how we can determine this coefficient of restitution. Practically, it is impossible to determine this coefficient of restitution. So, the determination of coefficient of restitution. Determination of coefficient of restitution. Practically, the velocities, how it is determined, E is equal to V2 minus V1 by U1 minus u2. What is u1, u2? Velocities before collision, velocities of the colliding bodies just before collision, okay. Thus I define what is v1, v2. What is v1, v2? Velocities of the colliding bodies just after collision. Practically, these velocities just before collision, just after collision, it is impossible to determine, isn't it? Because the body may not move with a uniform speed due to friction. Okay, practically friction exists. So to determine this value, you have a small experiment. So practically the bodies moves with we can determine this because of this practical difficulty. It is impossible to determine the velocities just before and just after collision. It is impossible. For that, we can determine this practically by the values of height, by taking a simple experiment. So by using this experiment, we can determine this coefficient of restitution. That experiment is, you take a ball and ball is the first one, colliding bodies, assume colliding bodies as ball and plate. Ball is 1, plate is 2. I assumed. Okay. So the plate is kept on the ground. Let it be a plate. Okay. 2. Kept placed on the ground. Where is this plate? On the ground. So this is a ball. 1. So if it is dropped from a height h1, then just before collision it hits the plate. It has a velocity before collision is square root of 2gh1. Okay, from kinematics. After collision, the ball rises to a height h2. So after collision, the ball rises to a height, let it be h2. So it will rise. So with what velocity it will rise after collision? So it will rises with velocity v1. Velocity of the ball after collision is square root of 2gh2, because after rising height h2, it will falls from the same height again. It will become freely falling body. So if it is dropped from a height h2, since it is falling from a height h2, it will hits the ground with what velocity? Square root of 2gh2. So it will rises with the same velocity. So from kinematics, if you project a body with certain velocity, it will returns to the ground with the same velocity, provided there will be no loss of energy. We are assumed. Okay. So now I want this plate will be at rest before and after collision. So u2 will be 0 and v2 will be 0. These are the values. Substitute these values in this E value. So what is? Plate is on the ground, so u2 is 0 and v2 is also 0, because it is on the ground. The ball hits the plate and bounces again. So and u1 becomes velocity of the ball before collision is square root of 2gh1 and u2 is velocity of the ball after collision. So v1 is equal to square root of 2gh1, but it is in opposite direction. So before collision, velocity will be in this direction, after collision will be in this direction. Substitute these values. Substitute. We get what we'll get. E is equal to, in the above expression, these values in above equation we get. So what we get, E is equal to V2. V2 is 0 minus V1. V1 is square root of 2g h1. Since it rises up, you take negative. Negative of negative becomes plus. Otherwise, you write negative. And u1. What is u1? Square root of 2g h1. What is u2? 0. So from this, you will get E is equal to, to avoid this minus, you put minus of minus, you will get plus. So you will get square root of, this is V2. V1 is H2. So GG get cancelled, you will get square root of H2 by H1. So this is the formula which helps us. By knowing the heights H1 and H2, we can calculate E value. Remember, E value is independent of, E is independent of H1 and H2. Independent of H1 and H2. It depends upon only nature of the colliding bodies. Suppose you drop a 3 balls. One is cricket ball, another is rubber ball, and another is a ball made with clay. A ball made with clay. 3 balls. Which ball will rises more height? Rubber ball. Is it quite natural? Isn't it? Cricket ball will rises a little bit less height. Clay, a ball made with clay will stick to this plate. That depends upon, so the H2 by H1 decides the E value, but it does not depend upon H2 and H1. It depends upon nature of the colliding bodies. So that is the difference. Okay? Clear this one? Take this. Okay? Chara, sir.